So the business challenge of inspections and instructions in the end is a very simple one. It is make sure the things are done right. And today, for more than 50 years, we use what I call 3 or 4 kinds of paper. The first one is policies, but that's the highest level. Then you have procedures, description of how a process should be and what needs to happen, who is involved, and so on. And then you get stuff that goes to the shop floor, that goes to the field, which is standard operating procedures, work instructions, 1-point lessons, inspection flows, telling people how to do something, step by step. And then you have forms, checklists, logbooks, asking people to write down temperatures, things they inspected, pressure, and so on an hourly or daily basis. And so the middle one and the forms are are printed for the shop floor and are used by people at work. And the point is, for more than 50 years, we use paper to make this happen. And there is a problem with the paperwork. The problem is this. Number one, they are printed by the tons, and they're only reading it by grams. So most of the thing is a waste. They put it aside, and they've printed it, but they don't use it. And then on the other side, there is all that box ticking that happens on forms, because people just tick the box to make the boss happy and to have it compliant, but this is compliant on paper. It's not compliant in reality. And then people start to write things they've been writing on paper, they take it over and type it into Excel to have a graph. That is no value added activity. And then the last thing is this: paper is static. There has been never in this world one sheet of paper that ever complained about the stupidity that was written on it. So paper accepts everything. Well, mobile or digital technology, not necessarily. And I would say in this age, working with paper, which is 95% or more of the companies, the work floor is flooded with paper. Well, working with paper today is no longer to be called a way of doing business, and compliant, I will put it this way, on paper, yes. And so what we learned is there something wrong with paper, that all these papers get printed and nobody uses them? As such, maybe there is nothing wrong with paper, but with the way that we communicate and the information that we put on a piece of paper. And what we learned is, we work for more than 4 years now, almost 5 with Google Glasses. We also, in the beginning, worked with the M100 from Vuzix. And we worked a lot with surgeons. And what we learned is this. Number one, if you give information to somebody at work, you're asking to do 2 things at a time, which is read what I'm telling you to do and do it. Now, definitely men are not capable to do 2 things at the same time. Some women claim they are, but I doubt it. So my point is this: if your communication is not snackable in a blink of an eye, somebody is either going to stop working and start reading, or he will put the stuff aside and he will not read it and continue working. So that's the number one thing. The number 2 thing is this: if I need information at work, I need it now, here, not in a terminal 20 meters away from me. I need it here. Number 3, it must match my workflow. I see tons of procedures where it says, if this is dirty, now go to procedure XYZ and start replacing this. Sorry, I don't carry 5 booklets with me. I'm at work. And number 4 is this: when you ask people, for whom are you writing procedures, they will all say, for our people. Your people don't exist. Your people is the average of somebody with 2 days of experience and 20 years of experience. And they have totally different needs. So all of these things, you need to acknowledge them and embed them in a solution. If not, people don't use it. And you can't blame them. And so the solution we came up with is, we bring this inspection workflows, instruction workflows, we bring them to things that people wear or carry. Can be a mobile phone, tablet, a glass, a watch, but they need to have it with them. And how it works is this. You have a cloud platform. Process engineers, administrators define the content. Then somebody define the content, and people can get authorization to execute it. Those people, they have a tablet, phone, glass, log on, start to do what the thing is telling them, give feedback, and everything, if you're online, if you're offline, it's later, but if you're online, everything is registered on a central platform. It can be either cloud or on-premise. And then you can analyze it again by business analysts. Of course, you can define the content on our platform, but you have already a lot of content in your ERP systems, in your MES systems. We have integration API that can take those data in, and then when the execution happens and is registered on our system, we can hand over through the integration API that data again to your MES ERP systems, and so on. So in the end, we leverage a few components of Industry 4.0. Mobile, cloud, analytics, of course, Internet of Things, I didn't mention that, but from within a procedure execution, we are capable to connect to a smart device and bring immediately on your glass or on your phone data from that smart device in order to help the operator or technician to do the right things. Now, again, in industry, the driver is return on investment. And although we started in the beginning with surgeons, we run away because there are other things at stake. But in industry, it's simple. You have a use case, there is a positive return on investment, we have a deal. And everything on our platform is designed from that perspective. First of all, we are not an information system, we are an execution system, because it's not about giving you information, it's about making you do something in a certain way. So we're an execution system, easy and user-friendly content management. I would say this, nowhere in this room or in this conference our competitor is present, because our competitor is not another solution. Our competitor is Word, Microsoft Word. The easiest thing to type something in, and then, of course, less easy to use by people down there on the shop floor. But that is the competitor. A generic framework, because it's like a Lego box. You build your flows, whether it's for quality control or for assembly instructions or for technical inspections, whatever. And again, industry reality is a mix of things, wearables, mobile technology, tablets, and so on. And there you see the use cases, but I'll come to that in a second. All of these things are there because in the end, they must make the business case. And the business case is about lean, doing things right the first time, avoiding scrap, changeover scrap, for example, empowering people, new people, with guidance, which makes it cheaper and faster to get these people at work, reduce the risk or the cost of non-compliance, and the numbers are there. And they have been validated by many different enterprise customers, and I will illustrate that in a second. Number one is a Philips case. It's a PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers report. They figured it out, 6% saving. Now the savings through the platform were much higher because the savings of 6% is on total of technical utility maintenance. So that includes spare parts. And we don't say spare parts by digitizing procedures. The other case that has been mentioned by the Qualcomm person in the panel is a leading example is AGCO in Jackson, assembling tractors. They were one of the first, almost 4 years ago, we engaged together with them in this journey. We still are today, and there is a big difference between a pilot and a test and a real live implementation with all these operators, probably the biggest in the world. And as Qualcomm person mentioned, a leading example with time savings in final factory inspection, with having people faster at work, new people, so clearly a positive situation. Now, what about wearables? There has been a lot today that has been said about VR, AR, and one that was not mentioned yet, IR, or some call it also AR, that is informed reality or assisted reality. Informed reality or assisted reality is not the see-through glasses, is the glasses that allow you to look to the world, but with a head-mounted display where you can glance for that information. And the more you move to the floor, the more people will want to use informed reality glasses like the Google Glass or the Vuzix for a simple reason. You need your eyes on the job or your work is no longer safe. It's very risky. So VR is deadly in a shop floor environment. In a training, that's fine. AR is perfectly in training, in a safe environment behind the desk. But when you move to the floor, it's about informed reality. And so for informed reality, the mother of all informed reality glasses is the Google Glass. Two big use cases, you see what I see, has been mentioned, and the hands-free information or instructions that guide you on how to do something the right way first time. And so today, we really believe in the potential of smart glasses. We've been working for 4 years now with the Google Glass, more than 4 years. And we moved to other glasses and a few things. There is a big difference, for example, we work both in Europe and in the US, and there is a big difference between Europe and the US. In Europe, it's, I would say, 80% tablet, 20% interesting glass. In the US, it's just the opposite. 80% is driven, of the questions we get are driven by smart glasses. And I think it's a cultural difference between both. And but we see a clear potential for the glasses, and the difference for me between a glass and a phone is very simple. It's hands-free. If that is not a necessity, you might stick with a phone or a tablet. But if the hands-free is a necessity, then the glass is the tool. And Glass and Vuzix were the first two that we used, and pretty similar. And now we move to two others which are totally different, or totally different to a certain extent, different. And interesting for us as a learning, the number one is the RealWear. It's a head-mounted tablet, so it's a kind of head-mounted device clipped on your helmet. And it's only interaction by voice. And we realize by using this device now that if the voice is the only way to interact with the tool, you have to redesign your application for it. If you have touchpad and voice, then the most efficient way to present information is different. So you see 4 glasses, all assisted reality or informed reality glasses, but the way you design your application, if you want to make it work efficiently on the shop floor, it cannot be the same. And then the other one is the Iristic, which is another, I would say, different concept. It's a glass tethered to a phone, which makes it pretty powerful. And it has a bionic eye. It can scan a can of Coca-Cola from a 2-meter distance. Now, in industry, scanning is an important thing to identify locations, parts, you name it, work orders, a lot of barcodes in enterprise. And so that is also an interesting situation where the glass allows you, and it's, what you see there is a picture of the Iristic glasses being used, and you see the laser pointer. It has an embedded laser pointer to point to the right barcode that you want to scan, and so it scans that barcode, and the rectangular that you see is the screen of the glass. And so there is one of our board members testing the 4 glasses, so the glass, the Google Glass, the Vuzix, the RealWear, and the heuristic. Now, how do you proceed? Let's put it this way. Most of the things happen this way. People are interested, they get into a discussion and a demo, and then they decide, yeah, it might make sense. But we should test it first. And they go then they select a few procedures, they go for 3 months, and just with 5 or 10 operators do it. We have a case in in the south of the US, South Carolina, making huge machines. They had an issue, quality issue, on a certain point, and only at that station they put people with glass and our platform with specific instructions. For 3 or 4 months they've been running it. They made like 120 machines, not a single error. I rest my case, I would say. That is what people want to see, and then they decide about a rollout. But mind this, a rollout is much more than a pilot, because now suddenly you need to integrate. It needs to work day and night. Some of our customers are working day and night for 4 years with our system. I get very nervous when it goes down for 2 minutes. And that is not a thing you worry about in the proof of concept. That's the sort of thing that needs to work and be reliable, or if not, they will put it aside and say, listen, manufacturing, it needs to work all time, all day, in any situation. This is the end of my presentation.